All right. Welcome back. Okay, we are now on to level 3 and 4 of division. So, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Hidka's Homeroom. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. I really appreciate it. Love you guys. Okay, so now we are on to level 3 and 4. So this is where we're going to get into our 2-digit divisors and 2-digit dividends. So what that's going to look like is something like this. So, excuse me, a little drawing at the top. That was just for fun. We are going to put 12 down into 24. So we're taking a 2-digit divisor and putting it into a 2-digit dividend. All right? Now, we're going to do the exact same thing as we normally do. Guys, we're dividing first, so we need to ask ourselves, how many times will 12 divide into 24? How many groups can we make? So if we were to do that with the 2, because that's the first number, it's going to be 0, right? Or we can put an X there, either one. So 12 cannot go into 2, so I need to go to my next number. So 12 goes into 24 how many times? Hopefully you know this, that 12 add 12 again, okay, it's going to give you 24. So it's 2 times. So 12 times 2 is going to give me 24. And I'm going to subtract. It's going to give me 0. Okay, so this is just the beginning stages of taking 2 numbers and putting it into 2 numbers. Alright, so let's look at the next one. 12 into 72. Okay, what happens whenever you get a number that you don't automatically know how many times it goes in there? So 12 goes into 7 how many times? No times. So I'm going to put my X. How many times can 12 go into 72? Well, maybe I don't know that off the top of my head. So I might go over here and put my multiplication tables. So 12 times 1 is going to give me 12. 12 times 2 is going to give me 24. 12 times 3, 36. 12 times 4, 48. 12 times 5, 60. And then 12 times 6 is going to give me 72. So here is my answer. 12 times 6 is going to give me 72. Now I can subtract, and it's going to give me 0. Okay? So if you don't ever know how many times it goes in, you can start to do your multiplication tables off to the side. Let's say you didn't know what this number was, you could come over here and do 12 times 6 and actually multiply it out. You know, 6 times 2 would give me the 12, and 6 times 1 will give me the 6, add the 1, gives me 72. Okay? So you can go about doing that if you need to. Alright, let's move on. Next part of this problem, we're going to do 15 into a 3-digit divisor. Okay, so this is going to be, 2-digit divisor into a 3-digit dividend. So 15 into 750. Okay, how many times does 15 go into 7? It doesn't. Alright, so if it doesn't go in, we need to go to the next number. 15 goes into 75 how many times? Here is where I might have to do some multiplication tables. 15 times 2, 30. Okay, 15 times 3, 45. 15 times 4, 60. 15 times 5, 75. Luckily, it's just, you know, as you go down, you're just adding 15. Hopefully you see that. You know, 30 plus 15 is going to give me 45. And then 45 plus 15 is going to give me 60, and so on to 75. So 5 is my number that I'm going to write down. 15 times 5 is going to give me 75. Now I'm going to subtract. It's going to give me 0 across the board. Now I need to bring down my 0. So 15 will go into 0 how many times? 0 times. 15 times 0 will give me 0. And now I can subtract. All right, across the board, it's going to be 0. So now that I'm done, I think I said in a previous video, it is a good idea to just go ahead and put your decimal so you know that that's the end of the number. And so it gives me 50 as my answer. Okay? 50. Alrighty, wonderful. So we are going to just kind of cross off some space here. This is going to be our last problem, but it's going to be kind of a long one. Okay, so 40 goes into 8,055. I'm going to zoom in just so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so 40 goes into 8 times how many? So we can't do anything with that. So 4 times basically nothing. Yeah, that can't happen. So we're going to need to move on to the next number. So 40 goes into 80 how many times? 2 times. 40 times 2 is going to give me 80. Now I'll subtract. Okay. If for any reason you didn't know this number, you could come over here and try it out. So 40 times 2, okay, and just divide it out if you needed to. And now we're going to subtract. So that's going to give me 0 and 0. Bring down my number, 5. How many times can 40 go into 5? It can't, so we're going to put a 0. Bring down our, oops, wait. So the next thing we need to do is multiply. So I don't want to get going too fast or I'll forget. 40 times 0 is going to give me 0, so I can subtract it. 5 times 0 is going to give me 5, and now I'll bring down the 5. So 40, how many times will that go into 55? 1 time. 40 times 1 is going to be 40. Now I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 0 is going to give me 5. 5 minus 4 give me 1. So now I have 15 as a remainder. So this is where my number ends here. Okay, so where I'm putting the decimal is where my number is ending. But I have a 15 as a remainder. So what I could do for this, as we talked in the previous video, is we could say it's 201 remainder of 15. We could also say it's 201 and take the 15 and put it on top. 15 over 40, and then simplify. And that would simplify to, let's see if we have 15 over 40, and I divided by the least common denominator of 5. 15 divided by 5 is going to give me 3, and 40 divided by 5 is going to give me 8. So that would look like 201 and 3/8. So this would be an appropriate answer, and so would this. And again, you don't have to go back over here and divide it out. You can, but you don't have to get this number. Now, if you know this by heart, which it's 375, 3 divided by 8 is 0.375. If you know that by heart, you can write it down. If not, you can come back over here and divide it out, or continue. So I would add my 0, bring it down. That's going to give me 150. I need to ask myself, how many times does 40 go into 150? That would be 3 times. 40 times 3, it's going to give me 120. And I'm going to subtract. Subtract, so I'm going to put my 0 down. 5 minus 2 is going to give me 3. And then 1 minus 1 will give me the 0. Now I need to add another 0 to bring down. So now we're looking at 300. How many times will 40 go into 300? Again, you might have to go to the side and divide all of that out or multiply it. And if you were to do so, you could do 40 times 5. Let's see, 40 times 5 is going to give me 200. 40 times 7 will give me 280. So 7 is what's going to be our number. 40 times 7 is going to give me 280, and I'm going to subtract to get 20 as a remainder, or left over. So here I am right here. Now I can get one more 0, bring it all the way down. Sorry, it's getting a little messy down here. So I'm at 200. We just said, you know, we're going to have to ask ourselves, how many times does 40 go into 200? Well, I just wrote it out over here. It's 5. So I'm going to add my 5 at the top. 40 times 5 is going to give me 200. And so ultimately, I would come down here and I would write 200 and subtract it. But because I know it's going to even out, I don't need to go any further. And this is going to give me 201.375 as my answer. So here's an option, and here's an option. All right, awesome, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me on that. If at any point in time you need to go back to review part of this video, please do so. You can watch it as many times as you need to, and you can also slow it down if you need. Again, leave me a comment or a question in the comment box off of my website. All right, thanks.